The North Woods of Minnesota is a beautiful expanse of pristine wilderness, marked by towering pines, sparkling lakes, and meandering rivers. I'm camped out with my dog on the verge of winter, braving freezing temperatures as we explore a forest of giants once lost in time. Woo-hoo! So let's warm up that cabin, boil the coffee, and soak in the beauty of the North Woods. This is Tiny Cabin Life. We're in the Chippewa National Forest in north central Minnesota. With about 660,000 acres, it's a massive forest and definitely one of the gems of our state. We're headed to a dispersed campsite that sits on top of a hill overlooking a lake. I discovered this camp a few months back and had planned to bring our larger cabin on wheels. However, I found out that the final approach to the camp was far too tight and treacherous to bring that cabin. And so plans had to change if we wanted to camp at this spot. We made it. A beautiful Northwoods lake, all to ourselves. This is my bike cabin, a tiny camper that I designed to be towed behind an e-bike. But for the first time ever, we're not towing it in that way. I'm just unloading it straight off the truck and setting it up. The road to get to the site was fine, so I didn't have to bike it in. It was just that final approach that was a little tricky. So in a way, we're almost using it as a little truck camper. Just gotta tidy up the cabin a little bit and assemble the wood-burning stove. Well, this is a pretty sweet campsite that we've got here, but I'm not gonna lie, I think it was more work hauling the bike cabin up with the truck than it would have been hooking it to the bike and riding it up the hill. But hey, it's set up now and that's all that matters. I'm sure you can tell by my voice that I'm a little under the weather, but I'm gonna plan to power through as much as I can today because there's a lot that I wanna do. There's a river right next to camp here that I would love to check out, so the plan is to bushwhack our way over there. And then just up the road is an old-growth forest known as the Lost 40. So we'll definitely be hiking through there and checking out the giant trees. Also, I did bring our pack raft, and so it'd be cool to get out on the lake and do some paddling one last time before winter. But first, it's time for some lunch. I'm so glad that soup season is finally back. It's so good and so easy to make out here and really hits the spot, especially on cold days like today. Oh yeah. Got some sausage and chicken gumbo here. Very, very good. Definitely hitting the spot, especially being a little sick right now. Had to give Ellie some. All right, let's get on that hike. I quickly realized that I had made a mistake while packing for this trip.
It's hunting season in Minnesota right now, and always a good idea to make sure to wear blaze orange when out in the woods.
Somehow I forgot my blaze orange vest at home, which is a bummer. Thankfully I have this raincoat, which will definitely do the trick, and Ellie's got her blaze orange on, so we'll be safe, but I need to add that to a checklist for next time.
I love fishing rivers and streams, so any chance I get to scope out something new, I definitely go for it. This one's not too far from camp, just across the road and through some brush.
It's very marshy here. I do see the stream up there. Whether or not we can get close to it is another story. We'll try maybe heading off this direction. It's just water everywhere here. Oh man. I think this is as close as we're gonna get. It's too bad. It looks pretty out there, and you know, I was curious whether you could fish it. I didn't bring my fishing pole this time, but looks like there's enough water there.
The stream is actually named Moose Brook, and the chances of it having fish are actually pretty good as it drains out of Moose Lake a little bit further north. Moose Lake has tons of fish like walleye, muskies, northerns, and perch. Since we couldn't get close to the stream, I figured we might as well hop on the bike and take a short ride up the road to check out the Lost 40. On our way, we passed by a small chain of lakes connected by a tiny stream. Then through a small valley and into a grove of hibernating trees, all while nearing closer to the giant pines just up the road. And before we knew it, we were there, smack dab in the middle of the Lost 40. The Lost 40 is a beautiful and fascinating place. It's a 40-acre old-growth forest that was passed over during a survey in 1882. Josiah A. King and 3 other men were working on one of the first surveys of the Minnesota Northwoods. It's believed that rough November weather, thick forest, and swamps led the crew to place a nearby lake about a half-mile further northwest than it actually is. And so this error hid an old-growth forest here that would likely have been sold and cut down for timber.
So if you take a look, we've got mostly red pines in this area here. They're pretty easy to identify because they've got that reddish color on the bark like that. And they're pretty tall like this with branches mainly towards the top of the tree. Pine is easily my favorite smell. And it's so thick in here that it's cutting through my stuffy nose, which is really, really great.
There are multiple loops that you can hike in the Lost 40. The larger, older trees tend to be closer to the road that we came in on, and so already we're just surrounded by giants.
Wow, look at this white pine. Oh my gosh, that thing is a giant. Walking through an old growth forest like this humbles you to know that these trees have been here for so long. You know this guy has been here for a long time and seen quite a few things.
Towards the far end of the loop, we started to see more younger trees again, as well as a very nice surprise. Ha! And would you look at this? We made it to our stream after all. And so all in all, the Lost 40 was incredible. It's pretty crazy to think that this is what most of the forest would look like up here if we hadn't cut down so many trees. When we got back to the lake, I decided to warm up a bit inside the cabin. Oh man, it feels good to be sitting in here by the stove. Cannot beat that view either. My throat's a little sore, so I figured some hot apple cider would be perfect right now. I use these apple cider packets, so all I have to do is heat up some water, pour the mix in my cup, and just like that, you got some hot apple cider. While relaxing inside, I soon realized that I was running out of time to get out on the lake. So I forced myself out of the warm cabin and started to inflate the pack raft. This raft has been an awesome addition to our gear this year. It packs down extremely small and doesn't take much to inflate and get out on the water.
Oh my gosh, look at this rope swing. It's made out of a car tow strap. Should I do it? Yeah, I gotta do it. Here goes nothing! Whoa! Whoa! Oh my gosh! Whoa! That is so nerve-wracking. Oh my gosh. Definitely solid though. Couldn't get my leg out there on the way back. Whoa! Whoa! Woohoo! There we go.
And with that out of my system, it was time to hit the water. I'm so glad I did this. So unbelievably peaceful out here, and with that sun going down, all of the trees and the colors are just popping. Absolutely beautiful. The lake here is a relatively small size with generally calm waters, making it a perfect place to get out on a canoe or a kayak. However, it doesn't seem to be home to many fish. The reports that I read suggested that there are just bullheads in here, but if you're just looking to get out and catch something, you might have some luck. What struck me about this lake is the long peninsula with the giant white pine, almost acting like a guardian watching over the lake. On the other shore, I came across this beaver lodge. Beavers are the largest rodents in North America and are fun to see when they let you catch a glimpse.
Well, the sun there is about to dip down over the horizon, so I think it's about time we head back to camp and get a fire started so we can start cooking some dinner.
I made it back to shore and switched my focus to getting a fire started and making sure we had some dinner. Ellie ate her dinner first while I prepared some kindling. I got the campfire started just as the sun went away, and with it came much cooler temperatures. To start here, I'm burning some of the wood that I hauled in for the wood stove, but I was hoping to gather some sticks and twigs from around camp to create some hot coals.
All the wood out here is just so wet because it's been raining the past couple days. And so, I don't know if this is gonna burn much.
Actually, it began to catch on quite nicely. And so now all I had to do was wait for it to burn down a little bit so I could do some cooking.
Well, while we wait for some coals to develop, I'm gonna have a tiny little sip of whiskey. Believe it or not, this should actually help my throat feel a little bit better. Cheers. That tastes good.
Before I knew it, the fire had burned down a little, and it was time to make some dinner.
All right, so we finally have a hot fire, and I'm trying something kind of crazy for dinner tonight. It's a total experiment. I got some of these chicken pot pies, and my plan is to just wrap them in tin foil and throw them on the fire and see if they cook. Definitely a little bit of a gamble, because these are, I think, made to go in the microwave, but see what happens. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna take the little bowl part off that comes with it, and now we're just left with the pot pie itself, and I'm gonna toss that in the tin foil, and it may turn into just a big heap of stuff, but it'll be food.
I gave each side of the pot pie like 5 minutes over the fire, and then took it off to see if it was cooked.
All right, guys, let's see how this worked.
Oh, yeah. So it toasted the top of the breading, and all the filling is just like piping hot. I think that's a success.
Dear God, thank you for this food. Thank you for an awesome day in the woods. Keep us safe tonight. Amen. All right, let's see how it is. That's a chicken pot pie, baby. Wow. Who knew you could make one of these over the fire?
After dinner, I was so exhausted that I just couldn't do any more filming. So we spent a little bit of time inside the cabin and soon drifted off to sleep.
Good morning, guys. I slept like a rock. Oh my gosh. And I don't remember the last time I slept until the sun came up. But man, that felt good. And I feel a lot better today too. So definitely needed the rest.
Definitely want to make sure to crack a window or the door when using the stove inside like this.
This thing is so drafty anyway, but it's better to be safe than sorry, that's for sure.
Well, that's gonna do it for this video. Thank you so much for coming along. It was so awesome to be camped out on the lake here and just up the road from the Lost 40, an old growth forest with some of the biggest trees that I've ever seen in Minnesota. I wanna give a special shout out to our patrons who generously donate to this channel, but to all of you who watch and support us, thank you so much. This is a dream come true, and we're absolutely honored to be able to make these videos for you. But it's time for me to get this thing loaded up on the truck so I can get home to the family. We'll see you next week. God bless.